There's much that India expects from the Rouhani visit: an agreement on developing the Farzad gas field for one, completion of the Chabahar port, and a predictable mechanism for making oil payments to Iran. But what about Iran? What would President Rouhani be hoping to achieve from his 3-day state visit to India, only the third by an Iranian leader in 15 years? For one, trade and investments will be high on Rouhani's agenda. He's told Iranian media that Iran and India, and I'm quoting, have had economic, cultural, communications, telecommunication, health, industry and agricultural ties which will continue and further develop. Specifically, Iran would be looking at infrastructure development, including railways. We've talked about this. Indian investment in petrochemicals, healthcare including pharmaceuticals, information technology, agriculture, transit system, cooperation in railways, building a railway line from Chabahar to Zahedan, sale of railway locomotives, setting up a locomotive manufacturing facility in Iran. Good political ties. A lot on Mr. Rouhani's list. The development of Chabahar port in particular, for which India is willing to commit up to $500 million, is another marquee project. Rouhani has said, and I'm quoting again, development of Chabahar port and linking India through this to Afghanistan and Central Asia is very important for both countries. Apart from bilateral issues, Rouhani would also be keen to court New Delhi on the international stage and hope that India will maintain bilateral ties on an even keel in spite of possible changes in American policy towards Iran going forward. He said, and I'm quoting again, Iran and India also share concerns including terrorism, as both are members of the non-aligned movement. Rouhani's visit to India comes at a time when Washington is threatening to walk out of the Iran nuclear deal and impose fresh sanctions on Tehran. My colleague Maral sent us this report.
President Hassan Rouhani has finally made his anticipated trip to India, his first ever India visit as Iran's president. And it was made in such a critical time. Ties with India were never more economically and strategically important to Iran. Economic pressure is building in Iran as strong policies have crippled investment and international banking in the country, not to mention deterioration of trade following US sanctions on the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Currently, trade with India, the fifth biggest economy in the world, is almost as significant to Iranians as it is their trade with China or South Korea. Considering Iran's international policy agendas, India can make a great ally to Iran to further its policy and interests in the East Asia. Iran is systematically courting India to attract investment and also in matters concerning the balance of power with China and the role Israel hopes to play in Afghanistan with the help of India. Also, India has a strong artillery capacity and force, which makes it an attractive prospect for procuring arms. Iranian media has covered this trip extensively by outlining the importance of ties with India. But it is not only a strengthening of ties with India that Iranian public is concerned about, but if President Rouhani can indeed make deals that can actually manifest solid results, like we saw in the case of Chabahar port project.